Agile Unlocked, your essential guide to Scrum and modern teamwork. Chapter 1, The World Before Agile. Imagine a world where plans were etched in stone, where every detail of a journey was mapped out years in advance, and deviation was seen not as adaptability, but as failure. For a long time, this was the prevailing philosophy for managing projects, especially in the burgeoning fields of technology and innovation. It was a world built on the assumption that if you just spent enough time upfront defining everything, you could predict the future, control all variables, and execute flawlessly. This approach, perhaps best embodied by the waterfall model of project management, was designed for a different era. Rooted in disciplines like manufacturing and civil engineering, waterfall projects progressed in distinct, sequential phases. First, gather all requirements, then design the entire solution, then implement it, then test it exhaustively, and finally, deploy it. Each phase had to be fully completed and signed off before the next could begin, like water flowing steadily down a waterfall. In some contexts, this linear methodology holds undeniable strengths. For building a bridge, for example, you absolutely need to finalize the structural requirements and architectural design before pouring concrete. Making fundamental changes halfway through construction would be catastrophic and costly. Similarly, for highly predictable projects with stable and well-understood requirements, Waterfall offered clear milestones, straightforward progress tracking, and a strong sense of control. Documentation was comprehensive, and responsibilities were clearly delineated. However, as the world moved faster, as technology evolved at an exponential pace, and as customer needs became increasingly fluid, the weaknesses of this rigid approach became glaringly apparent. One of the biggest issues was rigidity. Once a phase was complete and signed off, changes were incredibly difficult, if not impossible, to implement. If a new market opportunity emerged, or if user feedback indicated a different direction, the process of trying to incorporate these changes was often bureaucratic, costly, and time-consuming. Projects became enslaved to their initial plans, even if those plans had become irrelevant or detrimental. This rigidity was compounded by delayed feedback. Since testing and user engagement often happened only at the very end of the cycle, issues were discovered incredibly late. Imagine building a complex machine for 2 years without ever inviting user feedback until it's finished. Only then do you learn that a critical lever is in the wrong place, or that the entire concept has been surpassed by a competitor. Fixing these problems at the 11th hour was exponentially more expensive and difficult than if they had been caught earlier. This also meant that the business received big bang delivery, all features delivered at once after a long wait, rather than in small, digestible chunks of value. This delayed the realization of any benefits and amplified risk. Unforeseen problems, a natural part of any complex endeavor, were devastating in a waterfall model. If a significant technical challenge or a critical misunderstanding of requirements emerged late in the implementation or testing phases, it could set the entire project back by months or even years, leading to budget overruns and missed market windows. Consider a company embarking on what they believe is their disappearing dream project, a revolutionary mobile application to connect dog owners with pet sitters built using the traditional waterfall model. Months 1 to 6. Requirements gathering. The team spends 6 months meticulously documenting every feature: user profiles, messaging, booking, payment, GPS tracking, video calls, pet health records, and even a bark-to-text translator. The specifications run to hundreds of pages. Months 7 to 10. Design. Architects and designers craft intricate blueprints for the app structure and user interface, based exclusively on the approved requirements. Months 11 to 18. Implementation. A massive development team, working in silos, builds the app feature by feature, following the detailed design. Months 19 to 21. Testing. Quality assurance engineers begin testing the entire integrated app. This is where the issues pile up. Bugs emerge, and some features, while technically implemented, feel clunky or don't quite make sense when used together. Some initial requirements from nearly 2 years ago are now unclear. Month 22, deployment and user feedback. The app finally launches. Users download it with anticipation. Almost immediately, the feedback rolls in, but it's not what the company hoped for. The bark-to-text feature is cool, but nobody uses it. We just need simple text chat. Why is the GPS tracking not live? My friend's app shows real-time locations. A competitor launched a simpler, more intuitive app 6 months ago, and they already dominate the market. Some must-have features we asked for 2 years ago are no longer relevant because our market has shifted. The company poured 2 years and immense resources into a product that was technically done according to the initial plan, but utterly out of sync with current market needs and user expectations. The project, once a dream, effectively disappeared into irrelevance, leaving behind wasted investment and a disillusioned team. This painful scenario, repeated across countless projects, highlighted a fundamental disconnect. In an increasingly complex, dynamic, and uncertain world, traditional project management was becoming an anchor, not a sail. Organizations needed a new way to work, one that embraced change, prioritized continuous feedback, delivered value early and often, and empowered collaborative teams to adapt and thrive. This growing frustration set the stage for a profound paradigm shift, the Agile Awakening. Chapter 2, The Agile Awakening, Principles and Philosophy. The failures and frustrations, stemming from traditional project management models, led to a collective realization: there had to be a better way. The pace of technological change and market demands simply outstripped the capabilities of rigid, sequential processes. This shared dissatisfaction, particularly within the software development community, became the catalyst for a revolutionary shift in thinking. In February 2001, a diverse group of 17 influential software developers and thought leaders gathered in Snowbird, Utah. They came from various backgrounds, advocating different lightweight development methods like Scrum, extreme programming, XP, DSDM, and feature-driven development. Despite their differences, they shared a common philosophy: a deep desire to simplify and improve software development. They sought a way to build better software, faster, and with greater responsiveness to customer needs. The result of their collaboration was a deceptively simple, yet profoundly impactful document: the Manifesto for Agile Software Development. Often referred to simply as the Agile Manifesto, it articulated 4 core values and 12 supporting principles that would become the foundation of what we now call Agile. Crucially, the manifesto does not prescribe a specific set of rules or a single methodology. Instead, it offers a guiding philosophy, a new way of thinking about how work should be organized and executed in complex, uncertain environments. It's a compass, not a detailed map. The 4 core values of the Agile Manifesto. The manifesto states, "We are uncovering better ways of developing software by doing it and helping others do it. Through this work, we have come to value individuals and interactions over processes and tools." This means that while processes and tools can be helpful, the skills, creativity, and collaboration of the people doing the work are far more valuable. Direct communication, face-to-face conversations, or effective virtual equivalents, and human connection are prioritized over rigid workflows or reliance on specialized software. Working software over comprehensive documentation. The ultimate goal is to deliver tangible, functional results that provide real value. While some documentation is necessary, its creation should not impede the delivery of a usable product. The focus shifts from producing extensive project plans and specifications to continuously building and demonstrating pieces of working functionality. Customer collaboration over contract negotiation. Rather than relying on rigidly defined, often adversarial contracts or long-term fixed agreements, Agile prioritizes continuous engagement and partnership with the customer. This ongoing dialogue ensures that the developed product truly meets evolving needs and that mutual understanding is built through shared experience. Responding to change over following a plan. In a dynamic world, change is inevitable. The Agile philosophy embraces this reality, recognizing that the ability to adapt to new information, market shifts, or customer feedback is far more valuable than simply sticking to an outdated initial plan. While planning is important, the capacity to pivot and adjust is paramount. The manifesto doesn't say that the items on the right, processes, documentation, contracts, plans, are unimportant, but rather that the items on the left are more important and yield better results in complex environments. The 12 supporting principles. Accompanying these 4 values are 12 principles that elaborate on the Agile mindset. These principles offer deeper insights into how the values can be put into practice. Our highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. Focus on value and responsiveness. Welcome changing requirements, even late in development. Agile processes harness change for the customer's competitive advantage. Embrace flexibility. Deliver working software frequently, from a couple of weeks to a couple of months, with a preference to the shorter timescale. Embrace iterative progress. Business people and developers must work together daily throughout the project. Foster collaboration. Build projects around motivated individuals. Give them the environment and support they need, and trust them to get the job done. Empowerment and trust. The most efficient and effective method of conveying information to and within a development team is face-to-face conversation. Prioritize direct communication. Working software is the primary measure of progress. Focus on tangible output. Agile processes promote sustainable development. The sponsors, developers, and users should be able to maintain a constant pace indefinitely. Support long-term well-being. Continuous attention to technical excellence and good design enhances agility. Embrace quality and craftsmanship. 10. Simplicity, the art of maximizing the amount of work not done, is essential. Focus on efficiency and eliminating waste. 11. The best architectures, requirements, and designs emerge from self-organizing teams. Trust autonomous teams. 12. At regular intervals, the team reflects on how to become more effective, then tunes and adjusts its behavior accordingly. Embrace continuous improvement. The mindset shift from doing Agile to being Agile. It's crucial to understand that Agile is not just a methodology or a set of practices. It's a fundamental shift in mindset. Many organizations mistakenly believe they are doing Agile simply by implementing daily meetings or using specific tools. However, true agility comes from being Agile, from internalizing and living by these values and principles. This mindset embraces empiricism, making decisions based on observation and experience rather than elaborate upfront planning. It's about learning by doing and adapting course as new information emerges. Iteration. Working in short, focused cycles to deliver incremental value and gather feedback. Feedback. Seeking continuous input from customers and stakeholders, as well as fostering internal team reflection. Collaboration. Working together across roles and with stakeholders, breaking down traditional silos. Continuous improvement, always seeking to identify and implement better ways of working, both for the product and the process. Value delivery. Constant vigilance on what truly matters to the customer and the business, ensuring effort is directed towards producing tangible, valuable outcomes. Consider the team that learned to dance. This marketing team traditionally operated on a long-term campaign model. They meticulously planned a 6-month product launch, complete with comprehensive market research, ad buys, and content schedules prepared months in advance. Halfway through, analytics revealed a significant shift in consumer behavior, with a new social media platform rapidly gaining traction among their target audience. The old way? We've spent too much on this plan already. We can't change now, we'll just have to push through. The campaign launches to a lukewarm reception, missing a key opportunity on the trending platform and delivering less than optimal results. The Agile way, after adopting principles, the team has adopted an iterative approach. They launch smaller, testable campaigns weekly, closely monitoring engagement and sentiment. When the new market data arrives, instead of viewing it as a disruption, they quickly pivot. They pause the less effective current campaign, rapidly reallocate resources, and launch a smaller, focused campaign specifically designed for the new social media platform, leveraging their early data. They prioritized responding to change and working results over rigid adherence to their initial 6-month plan. By continuously inspecting customer responses and adapting their strategy, they delivered much greater impact. This shift isn't limited to software development. Businesses from marketing to human resources, from education to manufacturing, are discovering that these Agile principles offer a powerful framework for navigating complexity and delivering value in today's unpredictable world. In essence, the Agile Manifesto provided a compass for navigating the stormy seas of modern projects. It acknowledged that uncertainty is inherent in complex work and empowered teams to navigate it effectively by focusing on what truly matters: delivering value, collaborating, and adapting. This philosophical underpinning is what empowers frameworks like Scrum, which we will explore next, to bring these principles into tangible practice. Chapter 3. Scrum, the heartbeat of Agile. The Agile Manifesto, as we've seen, provides a powerful philosophy, a way of thinking about how to approach complex work. But how do you do Agile? How do you translate its values of collaboration, feedback, and adaptability into concrete daily practices? While there are various frameworks and methods that embody Agile principles, one stands out as the most widely adopted and effective: Scrum. Scrum is a lightweight framework that helps people, teams, and organizations generate value through adaptive solutions for complex problems. It's often described as simple to understand, difficult to master. This simplicity is one of its greatest strengths. It provides just enough structure to keep teams aligned and productive, without burdening them with excessive rules or bureaucracy. Unlike traditional methodologies, Scrum is not a prescriptive cookbook that tells you exactly how to do every step of your work. Instead, it offers a framework for teams to organize themselves, learn from their experiences, and continuously improve their way of working. It operates on the principle of empiricism, the idea that knowledge comes from experience and that decisions are made based on observation and experimentation rather than detailed upfront planning. The history and origins of Scrum. The roots of Scrum can be traced back to a 1986 Harvard Business Review article titled "The New Product Development Game" by Hirotaka Takeuchi and Ikujiro Nanaka. This article described a holistic, flexible, and team-based approach to product development used by leading Japanese companies like Fuji Xerox and Honda. They observed that these companies employed small, cross-functional teams that worked cohesively, much like a rugby, scrum, working together to advance the ball. Inspired by this concept, Ken Schwaber and Jeff Sutherland independently began developing and implementing variations of this approach in software development in the early 1990s. They later formalized their ideas and first presented Scrum as a named framework at the OOPSLA conference in 1995. Schwaber and Sutherland remain the primary authors and stewards of the Scrum Guide, the definitive, continually refined document that outlines the rules of Scrum. The 3 pillars of Scrum: empiricism and action. At its core, Scrum is built on 3 fundamental pillars that support its empirical process control. Transparency. All significant aspects of the process must be visible to those responsible for the outcome. This means providing a shared understanding of what the work entails, what done means, and the current state of progress. There are no hidden agendas or secret backlogs. Transparency fosters trust and enables accurate inspection. Example: a visible task board, a clear product backlog that everyone can access and understand, and open communication during meetings. Inspection. Regularly check the process or product against the desired outcome. This isn't about micromanagement, it's about timely detection of undesirable variances. Inspection should be frequent enough to detect problems, but not so frequent that it impedes the work. Example: the daily Scrum provides a daily inspection of progress. The sprint review inspects the product increment. The sprint retrospective inspects the team's process. Adaptation. If an inspection reveals a deviation from acceptable limits, or if problems are identified, the process or the product must be adjusted as soon as possible. Scrum allows the team to correct course by adapting their efforts. Example: based on feedback in a sprint review, the product owner might reorder the product backlog. A sprint retrospective might lead the team to implement a new communication strategy. These pillars ensure that Scrum teams are continuously learning, experimenting, and improving, making decisions based on real-world observations rather than fixed plans. Why choose Scrum? The benefits of its empirical approach. Adopting Scrum can bring numerous advantages, especially for organizations tackling complex problems. Adaptability. Scrum thrives in environments where requirements are likely to change or are not fully known upfront. It embraces change rather than resisting it. Faster time to market. By delivering usable, valuable increments frequently, teams can get early feedback and release products or features sooner. Higher quality products. Continuous inspection and feedback loops, along with a strong definition of done, lead to better quality and fewer defects over time. Increased stakeholder satisfaction. Regular demonstrations and opportunities for collaboration ensure that stakeholders are engaged and that the product evolves to meet their true needs. Improved team morale and ownership. Self-managing, cross-functional teams feel empowered and take greater ownership of their work and its outcomes. Reduced risk. Issues and impediments are uncovered early in short cycles, allowing for swift resolution before they escalate into major problems. Transparency and predictability. The regular rhythm of sprints and the visible nature of the work on the product and sprint backlogs provide clearer insights into progress and future direction. Overview of Scrum components. Roles, events, and artifacts. Scrum provides a structured framework through its defined components, which work together to enable the empirical process. The Scrum team. This consists of the product owner, the Scrum master, and the development team. These are the three essential accountabilities within a Scrum team, working as a single, cohesive unit. Scrum events. These are time-boxed occasions for regular inspection and adaptation. They provide rhythm and structure to the work. The 5 key events are sprint planning, the daily Scrum, the sprint review, and the sprint retrospective, all occurring within the overarching event of the sprint. Scrum artifacts. These represent work or value and are designed to maximize transparency and provide opportunities for inspection and adaptation. The 3 core artifacts are the product backlog, the sprint backlog, and the increment. To illustrate how these components work together, let's use an analogy: Scrum as a cycling race. Imagine a long-distance cycling race that involves navigating uncertain terrain. A traditional approach would be like mapping the entire 1,000-mile route in minute detail, buying all the gear, training for 2 years, and then riding the entire distance in one continuous, months-long effort without stopping. If you hit a broken bridge 500 miles in or discover a new, faster road, you're stuck or forced to make a costly diversion. In Scrum, you break the race into short, manageable sections or sprints, say, a 50-mile section each day, for a few days at a time. At the start of each day's section, sprint planning, the cycling team development team, with their coach, Scrum Master, and the race organizer, product owner, decide this day's specific route and goal, e.g., reach the next town by sundown. Throughout the day, the riders' development team periodically coordinate daily Scrum, quickly checking in. Where are we? Anyone have a flat tire? How will we work together for the next hour? The product owner is the race organizer, who knows the ultimate destination and constantly refines the overall race plan, product backlog, based on conditions and team progress. The Scrum Master is the team's coach, ensuring the bike's tools are maintained, the team communicates effectively, and they follow the rules of the race Scrum framework. They also run interference with external obstacles. At the end of each day's section, sprint review, the team shows the race organizer and the sponsors, stakeholders, how far they got. They discuss what went well, what challenges they faced, and whether the plan for the rest of the race needs adjusting based on the actual progress and new information, e.g., that next hill looks tougher than we thought. Finally, the team then holds a huddle among themselves, sprint retrospective, to discuss: how could we race better tomorrow? Did we communicate effectively? Should we try a different strategy for water breaks? They commit to 1 or 2 improvements for the next day's ride. If a new, faster route is discovered or the destination changes, you adapt your plan for the next sprint, not abandon the entire race. This example highlights how Scrum provides a lightweight, empirical approach to continuously deliver value and adapt to change. Each component plays a vital role in ensuring transparency, fostering inspection, and enabling adaptation. In the following chapters, we will delve into each of these components in detail, starting with the heart of any collaborative effort: the team itself. Chapter 4, the Scrum Team, Roles and Responsibilities. At the core of Scrum lies the Scrum team, a small, dedicated group of individuals united by a common goal. Unlike traditional hierarchical structures where individuals report up disciplinary silos, the Scrum team is designed to foster collaboration, self-management, and collective ownership. This fundamental shift from command and control to empowerment is critical to Scrum's success. The Scrum team is a cohesive unit of professionals focused on one objective at a time, the sprint goal. They work together to create a valuable, usable increment every sprint. Characteristics of the Scrum team. Before delving into the specific accountabilities within the Scrum team, it's important to understand the overarching characteristics that define this unique unit. Self-managing, self-organizing. The Scrum team decides how to accomplish the work and best achieve its goals. They choose who does what, when, and how. They don't wait for external managers to assign tasks. This fosters autonomy, creativity, and a high degree of ownership over the outcomes. Cross-functional. The team possesses all the skills necessary to create value without relying on outside help. This means that within a single Scrum team, you'll find the diverse expertise needed to design, build, test, and release the product increment. There are no silos of expertise that require handoffs to external departments for critical tasks. Small size, Scrum teams are typically 10 or fewer people. This size promotes efficient communication, minimizes coordination overhead, and allows for rapid decision-making. If a team becomes too large, it can split into multiple, cohesive Scrum teams, each focused on a part of the product or a shared product goal. Dedicated ideally. For maximum efficiency and commitment, team members should ideally be dedicated full-time to one Scrum team. Context switching between multiple projects or teams can significantly reduce productivity and continuity. The 3 accountabilities of the Scrum team. The Scrum team comprises 3 distinct accountabilities: the product owner, the Scrum master, and the developers, the term used for anyone on the development team. Each plays a crucial role in the team's success, working collaboratively to achieve the sprint goal and deliver value. 1. The product owner, the what and the why, maximizing value. The product owner is singularly accountable for maximizing the value of the product, resulting from the work of the development team. They are the voice of the customer, the market, and the business, ensuring that the team builds the right product. Core responsibilities, product backlog management. This is their prime accountability. They are responsible for the content, availability, and ordering of the product backlog. This includes clearly expressing product backlog items, PBIs, ensuring that everyone understands what needs to be built. Ordering PBIs, prioritizing items to best achieve goals and missions, considering value, risk, dependencies, and market urgency. Ensuring transparency, making the product backlog visible, transparent, and understood by all. Stakeholder liaison, they bridge the gap between various stakeholders, customers, users, business leaders, sales, marketing, legal, etc., and the development team. They gather needs, manage expectations, and translate business objectives into actionable work for the team. Visionary, they own, articulate, and communicate the product vision and overall product goal to the Scrum team and stakeholders. Decision maker, the product owner has the final say on what goes into the product backlog and its order. For this reason, the role should be held by a single individual, not a committee. Characteristics: customer-focused, deep understanding of user needs and market trends. Strategic, ability to articulate a compelling product vision and roadmap. Excellent communicator, able to convey complex ideas clearly to diverse audiences. Decisive, capable of making tough prioritization decisions. Available, accessible to the development team for questions and clarification. Common pitfalls: not having enough authority, being a proxy product owner without real decision-making power. Being a committee, when multiple people try to fill the role, leading to confusion and conflicting priorities. Being unavailable, neglecting to provide timely feedback or clarification to the development team. Solely focused on technical aspects, losing sight of the business value and market needs. Analogy: the product owner is like the film director who has the overarching vision for the movie and ensures the script, product backlog, reflects it. They decide which scenes are most important and should be shot first, always with the audience in mind. 2. The Scrum Master. The how, facilitating and improving. The Scrum Master is the servant leader for the Scrum team and the larger organization. Their primary accountability is to establish Scrum as defined in the Scrum Guide, helping everyone understand Scrum theory, practices, rules, and values. They are not a manager in the traditional sense, but a facilitator, coach, and impediment remover. Core responsibilities, services to specific groups, to the product owner. Helping with effective product backlog management, understanding empirical product planning, and ensuring transparency of the product backlog. To the development team, coaching them in self-management and cross-functionality, helping them create high-value increments, removing impediments to their progress, and facilitating Scrum events as needed. To the organization, leading, training, and coaching the organization in its Scrum adoption, helping employees and stakeholders understand and enact an empirical approach, and planning and advising Scrum implementations within the organization. Characteristics: empathetic, understands team dynamics and individual needs. Strong facilitator, guides discussions, promotes collaboration, and helps teams navigate challenges. Problem solver, proactively identifies and helps remove obstacles. Coach, guides the team and organization in applying Scrum principles and improving their work. Knowledgeable, deep understanding of Scrum, Agile principles, and common practices. Common pitfalls: being a secretary, simply taking notes or scheduling meetings without engaging in deeper coaching or impediment removal. Being a project manager, directing the development team's daily work or assigning tasks. Being a technical leader, focusing solely on technical advice and not on process improvement. Being a Scrum police, enforcing rules rigidly without understanding the underlying principles or the team's context. Analogy: the Scrum Master is like the orchestra conductor. They don't play an instrument directly, but they ensure all musicians, development team, are in sync, have what they need, understand the score, sprint backlog, and play harmoniously towards a common goal, sprint goal. They also manage the stage logistics and ensure the concert hall management, organization, understands the orchestra's needs. 3. The developers. The who gets it done, delivering done increments. Developers are the people in the Scrum team who are committed to creating any aspect of a usable increment each sprint. Regardless of the specific work they do, e.g., coding, designing, testing, analyzing, writing, experimenting, they are all simply developers within the Scrum team. Core responsibilities: creating the increment, turning selected product backlog items into a done increment within the sprint, planning the sprint, collaboratively creating the sprint backlog, how they will deliver the work. Instilling quality, adhering to the definition of done to ensure high quality, adapting their plan, adjusting their plan daily towards the sprint goal. Accountability, they are collectively accountable for the delivery of the increment. Characteristics: self-managing, decide how they will accomplish their work. Cross-functional, possess all the necessary skills collectively, even if individuals have specialties. Collaborative, work together as a unit, sharing knowledge and helping each other. Quality-focused, committed to craftsmanship and building a high-quality product. Common pitfalls, relying on external management, expecting someone else to tell them what to do next, not being truly cross-functional, creating internal handoffs or dependencies within the team. Individual heroism, prioritizing individual tasks over the collective sprint goal, ignoring the definition of done, producing work that is not truly ready for release. Analogy: the developers are like the expert builders who take the architect's designs, product backlog items, and collaboratively construct a usable, high-quality section of a building increment every few weeks. They decide among themselves the best way to lay the bricks, wire the electricity, and install the plumbing to get the section built. The unified Scrum team. While the 3 accountabilities have distinct responsibilities, they function as a single, cohesive unit. There are no sub-teams or hierarchies within the Scrum team itself, beyond the product owner's authority over the product backlog and product goal. They work together, constantly communicating and collaborating, to achieve the sprint goal and deliver value. This unified structure is key to the Scrum team's ability to be flexible, efficient, and responsive in the face of complex challenges. Chapter 5. The Product Backlog, Your Vision's Blueprint. Every great product begins with an idea. It might stem from an unsolved problem, a market opportunity, or a flash of visionary insight. But how does that initial spark transform into actionable work that a team can build and deliver? In Scrum, the answer lies in the product backlog, the definitive, living blueprint for your product. What is the product backlog? The product backlog is an emergent, ordered list of what is needed to improve the product. It serves as the single source for all work to be undertaken by the Scrum team. It is the responsibility of the product owner to manage and maintain the product backlog. Think of it as the ultimate to-do list for your product. It's not just a static document. It's a dynamic, ever-evolving artifact that reflects the current understanding of what the product needs to achieve its product goal. It's never complete, because products and their environments are constantly changing. New opportunities arise, market demands shift, and user feedback provides new insights, all of which can influence the product backlog. Product backlog items, PBIs. The individual entries on the product backlog are called product backlog items, PBIs. These aren't just features. They can represent various types of work necessary to deliver value and improve the product. Common types of PBIs include features, new functionalities or capabilities that add value to the user or business. Bug fixes, addressing defects or issues that impair the product's performance or usability. Technical debt, work to improve the internal quality of the product, e.g., refactoring code, upgrading infrastructure, improving system performance. This often goes unseen by the user, but is crucial for the long-term health and agility of the product. Knowledge acquisition, spikes, time-boxed research tasks to reduce uncertainty, explore new technologies, or gain insights necessary for future development. One widely adopted format for expressing PBIs, though not mandated by Scrum, is the user story. User stories, connecting work to value. User stories are simple, concise descriptions of a feature or piece of functionality, written from the perspective of an end user or customer. A common format is, as a type of user, I want some goal so that some reason benefit. For example, as a registered user, I want to reset my password so that I can regain access to my account if I forget it. As a pet owner, I want to search for sitters by location so that I can find someone nearby. As an administrator, I want to view a dashboard of user activity so that I can monitor system usage. User stories are valuable because they focus on value, emphasize the benefit to the user or business, encourage discussion, are often placeholders for conversation, leading to deeper understanding. Are testable, allow for clear criteria to determine when the story is complete. Are small enough, can often be broken down into smaller, manageable chunks for a sprint. The 4 key characteristics of a healthy product backlog, deep. A product backlog that is effectively managed and truly useful for the Scrum team typically exhibits 4 key characteristics, often remembered by the acronym DEEP. D, detailed appropriately. Items at the top of the product backlog, those that are highest priority and likely to be worked on soon, should be significantly more detailed and clearly understood. Lower priority items can be coarser-grained, placeholders for future discussion. It's a waste of time to precisely define something that might never be built. Estimated. Each item in the product backlog should have an estimate of the effort it will take to complete. This helps the product owner in ordering and the development team in planning. Estimates are often expressed in story points, a relative measure of effort, or sometimes in ideal days. Emergent. The product backlog is never static. It continuously evolves as new information, market feedback, and technical insights surface. It should be regularly updated to reflect the latest understanding of what's needed. Prioritized or ordered. The product backlog is not just a list, it's an ordered list. Items at the top are the most important, valuable, and ready to be worked on next. The product owner is solely responsible for this ordering, which is a continuous balancing act. Product backlog ordering. The product owner's art. The product owner's core accountability for the product backlog involves its ordering. This isn't just about highest priority first. It's a nuanced process that balances multiple factors to maximize the value delivered by the Scrum team. Value: what delivers the most business or customer value? Risk: what PBIs, if tackled early, can reduce significant project or market risk? Dependencies: are there items that logically must be completed before others? Cost effort: what is the effort required versus the value gained? Urgency: are there time-sensitive market opportunities or regulatory requirements? Learning opportunities: will implementing a certain item provide critical insights for future development? The product owner must continuously evaluate and reorder the product backlog in response to new information, market changes, stakeholder feedback, and what the development team is learning about the product through its work. Product backlog refinement, formerly grooming. Maintaining a healthy product backlog is an ongoing activity, not a one-time event. This continuous process is known as product backlog refinement. Purpose: to add detail, estimates, and order to product backlog items, ensuring they are clear, understood, and ready for future sprints. It's where the product owner and development team collaborate to break down large items, clarify requirements, and assess effort. Continuous activity. Product backlog refinement is not a formal Scrum event, but an ongoing process. It's often done incrementally throughout the sprint, rather than in one large meeting. Time allocation. While flexible, it's understood that product backlog refinement typically consumes no more than 10% of the development team's capacity during a sprint. This ensures they have sufficient time for their primary work, building the increment. Analogy: imagine a master chef planning the menu for their restaurant. They have a grand vision for the year, the product goal, but they don't write detailed recipes for every single dish 12 months in advance. Instead, they have a product backlog of dish ideas: seasonal fish dish, new dessert, vegetarian special, modern twist on a classic. As the season approaches, they engage in refinement sessions with their kitchen staff. They discuss seasonal fish dish, breaking it down into specific types of fish, accompanying vegetables and sauces. They estimate the prep time and cost. They then order the menu based on ingredients available, customer demand, cost-effectiveness, and what they want to experiment with. The high-priority dishes that will be on the menu next week are detailed, estimated, and well understood. The dishes planned for months away are still vague ideas. This continuous refinement ensures that when it's time to actually cook, the kitchen staff knows exactly what to prepare and how, without wasting time detailing dishes that might never make it onto the menu. Importance of transparency and shared understanding. A well-maintained product backlog is the cornerstone of transparency in Scrum. It makes the product owner's vision, priorities, and decisions explicit and visible to the entire Scrum team and key stakeholders. This shared understanding is vital for ensuring that everyone is aligned on what needs to be built and why. It allows the team to focus their efforts effectively, knowing that they are working on the most valuable items at any given moment. With the product backlog providing the blueprint, the stage is now set for the Scrum team to select work and begin its rhythmic cycle of delivery, the sprint. Chapter 6. The Sprint. The rhythmic cycle of work. In the world of traditional project management, projects often unfolded over long, unpredictable timelines. Progress could feel agonizingly slow, and feedback, when it finally arrived, was usually too late to be truly impactful. Scrum, in stark contrast, introduces a consistent, short pulse of work, the sprint. The sprint is the beating heart of Scrum, providing the essential rhythm for continuous delivery, inspection, and adaptation. What is a sprint? A sprint is a fixed-length time box of 1 month or less, during which a done, usable, and potentially releasable increment is created. Once a sprint begins, its duration is fixed and cannot be shortened or lengthened. For most teams, a 2-week sprint is the most common and often the most effective duration, balancing rapid feedback with sufficient time to create meaningful value. The sprint encapsulates all other Scrum events: sprint planning, daily scrums, development work, sprint review, and sprint retrospective. It is a container for all the activities necessary to deliver a valuable product increment. Why is a consistent sprint duration so important? Focus. A fixed, short time box forces the development team to focus on a small, achievable set of goals, preventing scope creep and distractions. Reduced complexity. Breaking a large project into smaller, manageable sprints makes the overall endeavor less daunting and easier to plan and execute. Predictability. The consistent rhythm allows the team to learn its own capacity over time, leading to more reliable forecasting. Stakeholders also learn when to expect new usable functionality, creating a predictable flow of value. Rapid feedback. By delivering a usable increment frequently, the Scrum team gets immediate feedback from users and stakeholders, allowing for quick course correction based on real-world usage. Risk mitigation. Problems, technical challenges, or missed assumptions are uncovered within a matter of weeks, not months or years. This allows the team to address issues while they are small and relatively inexpensive to fix. The sprint goal, the guiding star. Every sprint begins with the definition of a sprint goal. The sprint goal is an objective for the sprint that can be met only if the entire product backlog items selected for the sprint are satisfied. It provides flexibility regarding the exact work needed to achieve it. The sprint goal is incredibly important because it provides focus. It gives the entire Scrum team a clear, unifying objective for the sprint. Instead of just working on a collection of disparate tasks, the team understands the overarching purpose of their efforts. Offers flexibility. If the development team encounters unforeseen challenges or learns new information during the sprint, they can adapt the specific tasks within the sprint backlog to best achieve the sprint goal without having to change the goal itself. The team commits to the sprint goal, not to a specific list of items. Fosters collaboration. It encourages the development team to work together towards a shared outcome rather than simply completing individual assignments. Example. Instead of simply aiming to implement login screen and user profile features, a sprint goal might be enable users to securely access their personalized content and manage their basic profile information. This goal allows for flexibility in how those features are implemented while reinforcing the user-centric objective. The inviolability of the sprint. Once a sprint begins and the sprint goal is set, its contents are fixed. The sprint backlog should not be altered in a way that endangers the sprint goal. This concept is often referred to as sprint inviolability. Why is this principle so crucial? Stability for the development team. It protects the development team from external interruptions and allows them to focus intensely on achieving the sprint goal. Constant changes lead to context switching and reduced productivity. Maintains focus. It prevents the team from losing direction by constantly shifting priorities or introducing new demands mid-sprint. Ensures delivery. By fixing the scope for the sprint, it significantly increases the likelihood that a done increment will be delivered by the end of the time box. Manages expectations. Stakeholders understand that changes will be incorporated in a subsequent sprint, not immediately mid-sprint, leading to more predictable planning for everyone. What if priorities drastically change? While rare, if a sprint goal becomes obsolete due to a radical shift in market conditions or product vision, the product owner can cancel the sprint. This is a severe measure because it means discarding potentially done work and potentially wasting the team's effort. It only happens when the sprint goal has lost its purpose entirely. In most cases, smaller changes can simply wait until the next sprint. The done increment, the sprint's output. Every sprint must result in a done increment, a usable, potentially releasable piece of product. This is the concrete outcome of the sprint, demonstrating the value created by the Scrum team. What does done mean? The definition of done is a formal description of the state of the increment when it meets the quality measures required for the product. It's a shared understanding within the Scrum team, and often the organization, of what it means for work to be complete and of high quality. Without a clear definition of done, work can be ambiguous, leading to incomplete features or hidden bugs. If a product backlog item does not meet the definition of done, it cannot be released and should not be presented at the sprint review as done. The increment should be potentially releasable, meaning it meets all quality criteria and could be deployed to users or customers at the product owner's discretion. It doesn't mean it must be released, but that it can be. What happens during a sprint? A glimpse. The sprint is a container for all the key events and activities. Sprint planning. Beginning of sprint, the team collaboratively defines the sprint goal and selects the product backlog items they can commit to delivering. Daily scrums. Every day, a short meeting for the development team to inspect progress toward the sprint goal and adapt their plan for the next 24 hours. Development work. The development team is actively designing, building, integrating, and testing the selected product backlog items. Product backlog refinement. Ongoing activity, the product owner and development team continuously prepare future product backlog items for upcoming sprints. Sprint review. End of sprint, the development team demonstrates the done increment to stakeholders and gathers feedback. Sprint retrospective. End of sprint, the Scrum team inspects its own process and identifies improvements for the next sprint. Consider the case of the stuck report. A business team was frustrated by a critical monthly sales report. Manual compilation took 3 weeks, making it perpetually late, and by the time it reached decision makers, the data was often outdated. Traditional approach. A large, multi-month project would be launched to build a custom reporting system. By the time it was ready, the business's reporting requirements might have shifted significantly, leading to a system that was technically sound but functionally obsolete. Scrum approach, the team adopted 2-week sprints. Sprint 1 goal, automate the data collection for the first 3 key metrics. They delivered a simple spreadsheet that automatically pulled relevant data from various sources. It was basic, but it was usable and delivered value immediately. Sprint 2 goal, enable basic visualization for the collected metrics. They integrated simple charts and graphs into the automated spreadsheet. Again, it was a usable increment, providing more insight. By Sprint 3, they had eliminated significant manual work, and by Sprint 5, they had built a remarkably functional, highly automated, and timely report. Outcome. They got early value, received continuous feedback, e.g., we need to slice the data by region too, and adapted the report's features based on actual usage. This iterative, sprint-based approach ensured that they built the right report that genuinely met their evolving needs, far more effectively than a single, long project would have. The sprint provided the consistent heartbeat necessary for this continuous delivery and adaptation. The sprint is more than just a time box. It embodies the core empirical principles of Scrum, creating a predictable rhythm for inspection and adaptation, and ultimately, for continuous value delivery. Chapter 7, Sprint Planning, Charting the Course. Every journey needs a starting point, a destination, and a plan for how to get there. In Scrum, that essential planning happens at the beginning of each sprint during the sprint planning event. This is where the product owner's vision, encapsulated in the product backlog, meets the development team's capacity and expertise. It's a collaborative session where the entire Scrum team sets the course for the next increment of value. Purpose of sprint planning. The primary objective of sprint planning is threefold: to collaboratively define the sprint goal, to select the product backlog items, PBIs, that the development team believes they can done within the upcoming sprint and which contribute to the sprint goal, to create the sprint backlog, the development team's detailed plan for how they will deliver the increment. Time box. Sprint planning is a time-boxed event, meaning it has a maximum duration. For a 1-month sprint, sprint planning is typically time-boxed to 8 hours. For shorter sprints, e.g., 2-week sprints, it's typically 4 hours. It's crucial to remember that this is a maximum. The event should end when its purpose has been achieved, even if it takes less time. Attendees. The entire Scrum team must attend sprint planning. The product owner has essential input on what delivers value. The Scrum Master ensures the event is understood and takes place, and that the team adheres to the time box. They facilitate the process and remove any impediments. The developer's development team are crucial for determining how the work will be done and for forecasting what they can deliver. The 2 topics of sprint planning. Sprint planning revolves around answering 2 key questions, which form 2 main topics. Topic 1, what will be done in this sprint? Product owner driven. The product owner initiates this discussion by presenting the product backlog, highlighting the most valuable items at the top, and proposing a sprint goal. They explain the overall product vision, recent market shifts, and current business objectives that influence the prioritization of items. The product owner works to clarify the why and what of the highest ordered product backlog items. The developers ask questions to gain a deep understanding of these items, including their scope, dependencies, and expected value. They also consider what they can realistically achieve within the sprint. Through this collaborative discussion, the Scrum team collectively selects a set of product backlog items from the refined product backlog that they believe they can done by the end of the sprint. Crucially, they agree upon a sprint goal. This goal should be a short, memorable statement that provides a clear, unifying objective for the sprint. It gives the team a common purpose beyond just completing individual items. Outcome for Topic 1. A jointly agreed upon sprint goal and a selection of product backlog items that form the initial basis of the sprint backlog. Topic 2. How will the chosen work get done? Development team driven. Once the product backlog items for the sprint are selected and the sprint goal is established, the focus shifts to the development team. They are responsible for planning how they will transform these selected items into a done increment. The developers collaboratively design a plan for the sprint. This often involves breaking down the selected product backlog items into smaller, more manageable tasks. They discuss the technical approach, architecture considerations, and potential challenges. They consider their skills, who will work on what, self-organizing, and how they will collaborate to achieve the sprint goal. This detailed plan of work for the sprint becomes the sprint backlog. It includes the sprint goal, the selected product backlog items, and the concrete plan of how the developers will deliver the increment. Outcome for Topic 2. The sprint backlog, which is owned by the development team. Key inputs to sprint planning. For successful sprint planning, the Scrum team relies on several key inputs. Product backlog. A well-refined, ordered product backlog, as discussed in Chapter 5, is essential. High-priority items should be clear, concise, and estimated. Latest product increment. Understanding what was done in the previous sprint helps inform what can be achieved in the current sprint. Team capacity. The development team's realistic understanding of their available time and effort for the sprint, taking into account holidays, training, or other commitments. Definition of done. The shared understanding of quality and completeness, as discussed in Chapter 6, guides what the team aims to deliver. Past performance. Historical data like velocity, the amount of work a team typically completes in a sprint, can help the team forecast, but it should never be used as a hard commitment or an external performance metric. It's a team-specific planning tool, commitment versus forecast. An important distinction in Scrum is between commitment and forecast. The development team commits to the sprint goal. This goal is non-negotiable for the duration of the sprint. The development team forecasts which product backlog items they can deliver. This is a prediction based on their current understanding and capacity. It acknowledges the inherent uncertainty in complex work. If new information emerges during the sprint, the team may need to adapt the forecast, but always with the sprint goal in mind. Example scenario. Sprint planning for an e-commerce website. Let's imagine the Scrum team for an online clothing store is conducting their sprint planning. Product owner. Our latest market research shows that users are increasingly sharing clothing items with friends. My proposed sprint goal is enable customers to easily share products they love with friends, thereby increasing brand visibility. Poe then presents. The top product backlog items are user can share product via email with a personal message. User can share product via social media, Facebook, Instagram, and user can generate a shareable link for a product. Developers asking questions. Which social media platforms are a priority for the business? What does easily share mean? Is it one click or a multi-step process? Do we need analytics on share clicks? Can we reuse existing components for this? Poe and developers discuss. They realize that integrating with both Facebook and Instagram, along with email and direct links, is too ambitious for one sprint given the complexity of the APIs and technical dependencies. Sprint goal is refined. Enable customers to easily share products via email and a direct link to their friends. This is more specific to the chosen items and still achieves the core business objective within the sprint. Developers then plan how. They break down the email sharing and direct link PBIs into smaller tasks. Design share button UI, develop backend API for email sending, implement email template, generate unique shareable URLs, write automated tests for sharing functionality, update database model for tracking shared items. These granular tasks become their sprint backlog, and they self-organize who will work on what. This collaborative process ensures that the sprint starts with clarity, alignment, and a shared understanding of what needs to be achieved and how. It transforms abstract ideas into a concrete, executable plan, setting the stage for the team's focused work during the sprint. Chapter 8, Daily Scrum, Syncing for Success. Once sprint planning is complete, and the team has embarked on their journey towards the sprint goal, the daily rhythm of the daily scrum begins. This short, focused event is the engine of the development team's self-management, ensuring continuous coordination and immediate problem-solving. Imagine a sports team during an intense game. They don't simply create a strategy before the game and then play in silence. Instead, they constantly communicate, huddle briefly, adjust to the opponent's moves, and adapt their tactics on the fly. The Daily Scrum is Scrum's version of that vital, quick huddle. Purpose of the Daily Scrum. The Daily Scrum is a 15-minute event for the development team to inspect progress toward the sprint goal and adapt the sprint backlog as needed. Its primary purposes are to inspect progress. The development team inspects how close they are to achieving the sprint goal. This isn't about reporting on individual tasks, but rather understanding the collective progress of the team. To adapt the sprint backlog. Based on their inspection, the developers adapt their plan for the next 24 hours. They decide how to best work together to continue moving towards the sprint goal. To synchronize activities. It provides a rapid way for team members to align their individual efforts, identify dependencies, and ensure everyone is on the same page. To identify impediments. It's the critical moment to surface any roadblocks that are preventing individual developers or the team as a whole from making progress. Timebox. The Daily Scrum is strictly timeboxed to 15 minutes. This firm limit is crucial. It forces brevity and focus, ensuring the meeting remains a quick planning and synchronization session, not a lengthy problem-solving forum. The time box reinforces that this event is for the development team to plan their next 24 hours, not to provide a detailed status report for external stakeholders. Attendees. The development team are the required participants of the Daily Scrum. This is their meeting for their planning and synchronization. The product owner and Scrum Master can attend, but primarily as observers. They should be silent, unless their active participation is specifically requested by the development team, e.g., the development team needs critical clarification from the product owner right then. It's vital that they respect the 15-minute time box and do not direct the development team during this meeting. If they attend, their presence is often to listen for impediments that the Scrum Master might later help remove, or to grasp the development team's progress and challenges. Format and content of the Daily Scrum. The Daily Scrum is typically held at the same time and place every day to build a consistent habit. Some teams choose to stand during the meeting to encourage brevity, hence, stand up. But standing is not a requirement. It is not a status meeting for management. The development team is coordinating with each other to ensure they achieve the sprint goal, not reporting their individual progress to a superior. While the Scrum Guide no longer prescribes specific questions, a common and effective pattern for facilitating the Daily Scrum involves each developer briefly answering these questions in relation to the sprint goal. What did I do yesterday that helped the development team meet the sprint goal? Focus on contribution to the collective goal, not just busy work. What will I do today to help the development team meet the sprint goal? A clear statement of immediate plans. Do I see any impediment that prevents me or the development team from meeting the sprint goal? Highlighting any roadblocks for immediate attention after the meeting. The discussion should center around the sprint backlog. The team updates their understanding of the remaining work, makes adjustments to tasks, or replans segments of work based on new information and progress, all with the sprint goal as their guiding star. Handling impediments and deeper discussions. The Daily Scrum is for identifying impediments, not for solving them. If a developer raises a roadblock, the conversation should be brief. The Scrum Master, or sometimes another team member, will then take responsibility for resolving it outside of the daily scrum. This ensures the rest of the team isn't held up by a discussion that doesn't involve them. Similarly, if a deeper technical discussion or a complex problem-solving session is required, it should be scheduled to happen after the daily scrum. Only the relevant team members participate in this follow-up, allowing the daily scrum to maintain its short, focused nature for everyone. Benefits of a consistent daily scrum. When done effectively, the daily scrum brings significant benefits. Early detection of problems. Small issues are found and addressed quickly before they fester and become larger, more complex problems. Increased transparency. Everyone on the development team knows what everyone else is doing and how it relates to the sprint goal. Improved team cohesion. Fosters collaboration and shared ownership as team members help each other overcome challenges. Accountability. Each team member actively states their contribution and acknowledges any obstacles, fostering a sense of shared responsibility. Adaptability. The team can adjust their plan daily based on new information and progress, embodying Scrum's empirical approach. Consider the status update trap. A development team, new to Scrum, began holding daily scrums. However, the meeting quickly devolved into a lengthy status update. Each developer would give a lengthy report of their individual tasks directly to their project manager, who had taken on the Scrum Master role, often detailing the minutiae of their day. The project manager would then ask probing follow-up questions, and the other developers would eventually zone out. The meeting consistently ran for 45 minutes, and nobody truly felt synchronized. The correction: a more experienced Scrum Master, either an internal coach or external consultant, was brought in. They coached the team and the project manager on the purpose of the daily scrum. They guided the team to use a physical task board, focusing the conversation on the sprint goal and asking, "What did we achieve towards the goal?" And "What will we do next?" The project manager was gently reminded to observe silently during the 15-minute time box. The outcome? The meeting rapidly shortened to 15 minutes, becoming more energetic, and the team members started actively listening and collaborating. Impediments were raised, and the Scrum Master then facilitated their resolution after the daily scrum, involving only those necessary. This transformation illustrated the critical difference between a traditional status meeting and a true daily planning and synchronization event for the team. The team began to genuinely self-manage their daily work. The daily scrum, when executed properly, is a powerful tool for maintaining momentum, fostering collaboration, and ensuring that the development team continuously adapts its plan to achieve the sprint goal. Chapter 9. Sprint Review and Retrospective. Inspecting and Adapting. As a sprint draws to a close, a Scrum team doesn't simply stop working. Instead, they engage in two crucial concluding events: the sprint review and the sprint retrospective. These events are dedicated times for reflection, feedback, and continuous improvement, embodying the inspect and adapt pillars that are fundamental to Scrum. Each event serves a distinct, yet equally important, purpose. One focuses on the product and the other on the process. Part 1. The Sprint Review, Inspecting the Product. The Sprint Review is a working session where the Scrum team and key stakeholders collaborate on what was done in the sprint and what needs to be done next. It's an opportunity to inspect the done increment against the product goal and adapt the product backlog if needed. Purpose: to inspect the done increment developed during the sprint, to collaborate with stakeholders on the increment and discuss how the product backlog could be adapted to maximize future value, to update stakeholders on the state of the product backlog. Time box. The sprint review is time boxed to a maximum of 4 hours for a 1-month sprint. For shorter sprints, it's typically 2 hours. Like all Scrum events, it ends when its purpose is achieved. Attendees. Critically, all members of the Scrum team, product owner, Scrum Master, and developers attend. However, key to the sprint review's success is the active participation of key stakeholders. Anyone with an interest in the product, such as users, customers, business managers, sales, and marketing representatives. Their feedback is vital. Flow activities. Product owner's recap. The product owner explains what product backlog items were done during the sprint and what was not done, e.g., if a PBI wasn't completed or new challenges emerged. They also discuss the overall state of the product backlog, including likely delivery dates based on progress. Development team's demonstration. The developers demonstrate the done increment. This should be an interactive demonstration of working functionality, not a presentation of slides or mock-ups. They can discuss what went well, what problems they encountered, and how they solved them. Discussions and collaboration. This is the heart of the sprint review. The Scrum team and stakeholders engage in active discussion. Stakeholders provide feedback on the demonstrated increment. Is it what they expected? Does it meet their needs? They discuss potential changes based on new market conditions, updated customer feedback, or technical challenges. New ideas are brainstormed, and potential future work is considered. The group reviews the product goal and progress toward it. Product backlog adaptation. Based on the discussions, the product owner, with input from all attendees, reviews and adjusts the product backlog. This might involve reordering items, clarifying existing ones, adding new PBIs, or even removing obsolete ones. The goal is to arrive at a revised, forward-looking product backlog that reflects the latest understanding and priorities. Output: a revised product backlog for the next sprint, potentially with adjustments to the product goal based on real feedback and the inspection of the increment. Anecdote: the dancing dashboard review. A team building a data analytics dashboard initially designed a complex, multi-feature interface based on extensive early requirements. In their first sprint review, they presented only a few basic charts and filtering options. The done increment for that sprint. A senior sales manager, viewing the increment for the first time, immediately exclaimed, "This is great, but our sales reps really need to be able to export this data to Excel, not just view it in the app." Another stakeholder pointed out that a highly complex chart, meticulously planned in the initial requirements, was no longer relevant due to a recent market shift. At the sprint review, the product owner could immediately reprioritize the Excel export feature higher in the product backlog and remove the now irrelevant chart. Without this early review, the team would have spent valuable sprints building features nobody needed and would have discovered the missing must-have feature far too late, causing costly rework. The ability to dance with changing needs became their strength, all facilitated by the timely feedback from the sprint review. Part 2. The Sprint Retrospective, Inspecting the Process. The Sprint Retrospective provides the Scrum team with a formal opportunity to inspect itself and create a plan for improvements to be enacted during the next sprint. While the sprint review focuses on what was built, the retrospective focuses on how it was built, the people, their relationships, the process, and the tools they used. Purpose: to inspect how the sprint went with regard to people, relationships, process, and tools, to identify the most helpful changes to improve effectiveness and quality, to create a plan for implementing improvements. Time box: the sprint retrospective is time boxed to a maximum of 3 hours for a 1-month sprint. For shorter sprints, it's typically 1.5 hours. Attendees: only the Scrum team attends the sprint retrospective. This is a critical distinction. The retrospective is a safe space for candid self-assessment and improvement. External stakeholders are not invited to ensure an environment of trust and openness where the team can be vulnerable and honest about its challenges and successes. Flow activities, common phases, often facilitated by the Scrum Master, set the stage. The Scrum Master helps create a warm, open, and psychologically safe environment for honest reflection, e.g., establishing ground rules like "what happens here stays here," or assume positive intent. Gather data: the team reviews what happened during the sprint. Common questions include: what went well? What could be improved? What confused us? What didn't go well? What did we learn? Generate insights. Through discussion and analysis, the team explores why things happened. They look for patterns, root causes, and systemic issues that might be contributing to their performance. Decide what to do. The team collaboratively identifies concrete, actionable improvements for the next sprint. Ideally, they select 1 or 2 most impactful, achievable actions to focus on. These improvements often focus on changes to their practices, communication, or tools. Close the retrospective. The team confirms its commitment to the agreed-upon actions and reinforces a culture of continuous improvement. The Scrum Master often helps incorporate these improvements into the sprint backlog for the upcoming sprint if they require work. Output: one or more actionable, process-oriented improvements to be implemented in the upcoming sprint. Anecdote: the silent impasse retrospective. A development team frequently found their daily scrums stretching beyond the 15-minute time box, sometimes into 25 to 30 minutes, leading to frustration. In their sprint retrospective, facilitated by the Scrum Master, they brainstormed why this was happening. Initial ideas included, we talk too much or our tasks are too complex. But through deeper discussion, they realized a pattern. Whenever a team member raised an impediment, the entire team would immediately jump in to try and solve it on the spot. Action plan: the team committed to a new rule for the next sprint. When an impediment is raised during the daily scrum, briefly state it. The relevant parties, the person affected, and the Scrum Master will schedule a quick follow-up discussion immediately after the daily scrum or address it later. The rest of the team will move on. Outcome: the very next sprint, their daily scrums dropped back to 15 minutes, becoming more efficient and focused. This crucial process adaptation, stemming directly from their retrospective, made a tangible difference to their daily rhythm and productivity. It's a testament to the power of continuous learning and adaptation within the Scrum team. Conclusion: the continuous improvement cycle, the sprint review, and sprint retrospective are vital components of Scrum's empirical nature. The sprint review ensures that the right product is being built by continuously adapting to external feedback from stakeholders. The sprint retrospective ensures that the product is built in the right way and more effectively over time by continuously adapting the team's internal processes. Together, these events close the loop on each sprint, creating a powerful cycle of learning, adjustment, and continuous improvement for both the product under development and the team building it. They are the formal mechanisms through which Scrum teams truly embody the inspect and adapt philosophy, constantly striving for excellence in an ever-changing environment. Chapter 10: Beyond Scrum. Scaling Agile and Next Steps. We've journeyed through the core principles of Agile and delved deep into the practical framework of Scrum for a single, focused team. We've seen how Scrum empowers small, cross-functional units to deliver value iteratively, inspect their progress, and adapt to change. But what happens when an organization grows beyond a single Scrum team? How do multiple teams coordinate, and how do Agile principles extend beyond their software development origins? And finally, what does true agility look like in the long term? Scaling Agile, when one Scrum team isn't enough. The power of a single Scrum team is undeniable. However, in larger organizations, product development often requires the efforts of many teams working concurrently on a complex product or even a portfolio of products. This introduces new challenges. How do multiple Scrum teams align their efforts towards a common, overarching product goal? How are dependencies managed, and how is integration ensured? There is no single best way to scale Agile, as the ideal approach depends heavily on an organization's size, structure, culture, and specific challenges. Various frameworks have emerged to address this, each with its unique philosophy and set of practices. While we won't dive into the exhaustive details of each, understanding their existence and fundamental approaches is important. Brief overview of common scaling frameworks. Scrum of Scrums. This is one of the simplest scaling patterns, originating early in Scrum's history. It involves representatives, often the Scrum Masters or designated developers, from individual Scrum teams meeting regularly to discuss cross-team dependencies, impediments, and progress. It's lightweight but often struggles with very large-scale coordination. LSS, Large-Scale Scrum, developed by Craig Larman and Boz Vod, LSS aims to apply the principles of Scrum directly to large-scale product development. It argues that scaling Agile is about scaling Scrum, not scaling up Scrum with many new roles and artifacts. LSS maintains a single product backlog and a single product owner for multiple teams working on the same product, emphasizing simplicity and continuous improvement. SAFe Scaled Agile Framework. Created by Dean Leffingwell, SAFe is one of the most widely adopted and prescriptive scaling frameworks. It provides a comprehensive set of principles, practices, and roles for implementing Agile at enterprise scale. SAFe organizes teams into Agile release trains, RTES, that align multiple teams to a common mission, synchronized by program increments. It's often chosen by larger, more traditional organizations needing explicit guidance for transformation. Nexus, developed by Ken Schwaber, co-creator of Scrum, Nexus focuses on integrating the work of multiple Scrum teams, 3 to 9 teams typically, that are collaborating to deliver a single integrated increment each sprint. It introduces a Nexus integration team that helps manage dependencies and ensures a holistic definition of done across teams. The common thread among these scaling frameworks is the need to maintain the core Agile values and principles. Breaking down large efforts into smaller, manageable chunks, continuous feedback loops, cross-functional collaboration, and the ability to adapt. Agile beyond software, a universal philosophy. While the Agile Manifesto originated in software development, its core values and principles transcend this domain. Any complex work characterized by creativity, collaboration, and uncertainty can benefit from an Agile approach. The desire for rapid feedback, flexible planning, and empowered teams is not unique to coding. Examples of Agile in non-software contexts: marketing, Agile marketing. Teams use sprints to plan and execute campaigns, rapidly test messaging, adapt strategies based on real-time analytics, and receive continuous feedback from market performance. Human resources, Agile HR. HR functions are adopting Agile for iterative talent acquisition processes, designing employee experience programs, and implementing continuous feedback loops for performance management, moving away from annual reviews. Education, Agile learning. Educators use Agile principles to design student-led projects, develop curriculum iteratively based on student feedback, and adapt teaching methods for better learning outcomes. Construction. While large-scale construction requires extensive planning, iterative approaches are applied to complex subprojects, with regular reviews and adaptations to site conditions or client changes. Research and development. Agile helps scientific and R&D teams manage their discovery processes through short experimental cycles, rapid prototyping, and empirical learning. Nonprofit organizations. Agile helps nonprofits increase their impact by iteratively developing programs, fundraising campaigns, and outreach strategies, ensuring that their efforts align with the needs of their beneficiaries. In all these diverse fields, Agile helps teams deal with complexity and uncertainty by focusing on delivering value, fostering collaboration, and continuously improving. It's an approach to work that prizes adaptability over rigid adherence to a master plan. Measuring success in Agile beyond traditional metrics. The shift to Agile often necessitates a shift in how success is measured. Traditional metrics like adherence to original budget and schedule or lines of code written often fall short in an Agile context, where plans are intentionally adaptive and the focus is on value. Key Agile metrics and focus areas include value delivered, the ultimate measure. Are we building what customers actually use and value? This is often assessed through qualitative feedback, customer satisfaction scores like Net Promoter Score (NPS), adoption rates of new features, and tangible business outcomes, e.g., increased revenue, reduced costs. Customer satisfaction, continuously measuring how happy users and customers are with the product and the ongoing collaboration. Time to market cycle time. How quickly can an idea go from concept to a customer's hands? This indicates organizational agility. Team health and happiness. Engaged, motivated, and happy teams are more productive and sustainable. Metrics might include team morale surveys, low turnover rates, and observed collaboration effectiveness. Quality, tracking the number of defects, the amount of technical debt, and system stability measures the sustainability and robustness of the product. Adaptability. How smoothly can the team and organization pivot to new priorities or respond to market changes? This is a qualitative measure of resilience. Caution. It's important to avoid using velocity, a development team's measure of how much work it completes per sprint, as a management performance metric for external comparisons. Velocity is a team-specific planning tool for forecasting future sprints, not a measure of productivity for comparison between teams or individuals. Misusing it can lead to gaming the system and counterproductive behaviors. The journey of continuous learning and agility. Adopting Agile and Scrum is not a one-time project. It is an ongoing journey of learning, experimentation, and continuous improvement. It requires a fundamental shift in mindset from command and control to empowerment and trust. Tips for sustained agility: leadership support and buy-in. Cultural transformation starts at the top. Leaders must understand and champion Agile values and practices to facilitate change across the organization. Empowerment. Trust teams to self-organize, make decisions, and manage their own work. Provide them with the autonomy and resources they need. Psychological safety. Create an environment where failure is seen as a learning opportunity, where team members feel safe to experiment, voice concerns, and challenge the status quo without fear of retribution. Continuous learning. Invest in ongoing training, coaching, and opportunities for experimentation. Encourage a growth mindset across the organization. Patience and persistence. Organizational transformation takes time, effort, and resilience. There will be setbacks and challenges, but continuous reflection and adaptation will lead to long-term success. Conclusion. Embracing the future of work. Agile and Scrum are not fleeting fads. They are robust responses to the inherent complexity and dynamism of the modern world. By embracing transparency, encouraging continuous inspection, and valuing rapid adaptation, organizations can navigate uncertainty, deliver superior value to their customers, and foster a culture of engaged, empowered teams. The unlocked potential that Agile and Scrum offer lies not just in efficiency gains or faster product delivery, but in the ability to build truly adaptive, resilient, and human-centered organizations. It's about empowering people, continuously learning, and fearlessly embracing change. As you embark on your own Agile journey, remember that the true destination is not a fixed point, but a perpetual process of becoming more effective, more collaborative, and more responsive to the world around you. Suggested further reading and resources: the official Scrum Guide, the definitive, concise source for Scrum, authored by its creators, Ken Schwaber and Jeff Sutherland. Available free online at scrumguides.org. Books: Succeeding with Agile, Software Development Using Scrum by Mike Cohn. Scrum, The Art of Doing Twice the Work in Half the Time by Jeff Sutherland. Agile Software Development with Scrum by Ken Schwaber and Mike Beadle. The Professional Scrum Master by Gunter Verheyen. Organizations: Scrum.org provides certifications and resources for professional Scrum. Scrum Alliance offers certifications and a strong community for Scrum practitioners. Agile Alliance, a nonprofit organization dedicated to promoting Agile development principles. Online communities and forums. Engage with the broader Agile community to share experiences, ask questions, and continue your learning journey.